Live on CBS News, Colorado voters decide on this Super Tuesday. Welcome to our special primary night coverage. I'm political specialist Sean Boyd. The only race Colorado voters are deciding is for president, who will face off in the general election this November. Let's take a look at the Republican race for president in Colorado. Here are the latest numbers. Donald Trump with 63% of the vote. Nikki Haley's almost 34%. Ron DeSantis, Chris Christie, and Vivek Ramaswamy all have exited the race, but all showing up on the map tonight. On the Democratic side, no surprise, President Biden with almost 85% of the vote. Dean Phillips coming in with 3% and others 2% or less. So CBS News has called Colorado for both Biden and Trump. Joining me are analysts, Republican Dick Wadhams and Democrat Sheila McDonald, in for Mike Dino tonight. So Dick, Haley got, what, 34% of the vote? Where do those voters go when she drops out?
That is the question, Sean. She has gotten anywhere from 25 to 40% across the country. And there's a reason why these voters continue to hang with her. They don't want Donald Trump to be the nominee. So the question is, what will they do in November? Now, a lot of the Haley voters will vote for him in November. There's no doubt about it. They'll go home. But it won't take that much to defeat Donald Trump in some of these states. Remember, there was Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. It was in the tens of thousands of votes that Biden carried those states last time, and that Trump carried them in 2016. It doesn't take many.
I can't help but wonder, though, if some of them will sit this race out. Will say, I'm not voting for either of them.
I think that's very much a possibility. I don't think the Haley voters want to vote for Biden. They'll just set it out, if anything.
You think she'll endorse Trump when she drops out?
I don't know. I think it's gotten very bitter. I mean, think about it. Trump has insulted her Indian heritage, made fun of her given name. He has called her bird brain. I mean, for a guy who needs to consolidate the Republican Party, he has a funny way of doing it.
He's insulted her husband, who's in the military.
Yes,
even.
and insulted her husband, yes.
You know, Sheila, Biden won Colorado. Turnout always lower in the primaries than in the general election. But given the vast majority of Americans don't want to see a Biden-Trump rematch, does this foretell anything about what turnout will look like in November?
You know, I think it's too early to tell that. I think there'll be some people who sit it out and they just say they don't. They're going to choose nobody. But I think in Colorado specifically, I think a lot of these unaffiliated voters you saw go with Nikki Haley, I think they will come home to Biden. I don't necessarily think they'll be with Trump. Unaffiliated voters in Colorado are important. They're the largest party in this state. And there's going to be issues on the Colorado ballot. There'll be a choice issue. So we're going to be talking about other issues that we're not talking about right now that are going to drive people to the polls, and women especially. Women are key in this race for Biden. People of color are key in this race for Biden. And I think he has to get his campaign going earlier. We're in a post-pandemic. It's a different kind of campaign. Usually the incumbent doesn't really do a lot at this point because there's no need. There's no opposition. But Biden has some opposition. This uncommitted can be called an opposition. And so I think that campaign, his campaign, they have a great candidate. He's been an excellent president. There's no doubt about that. And so they have to become a little bit more nimble and a little bit more aggressive earlier than I think they would have done in the past.
So a new CBS News poll shows Biden still winning among Black, Hispanic, women voters, those key constituencies, but he is down in support in each of those over 4 years ago. What do you make of that, and what does he need to do to earn them back? You
know, I think the economy has been hard for a lot of people, even though unemployment's down, the rate of inflation is down, but groceries are still high. Gas has come down significantly from where it was a few years ago, but I think he has to go back out into those communities. He has got to lean in to these voters and resell himself to them. And he has to increase the margins that he won them by, because as Dick said, in a lot of these states, it's thousands of votes that separate him. And so he has got to increase his margins of victory among women, among people of color. It's not gonna do to just win them.
And Sean, actually, it's not only the national numbers. In the competitive states, the battleground states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, yeah, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Trump has a 6 or 7 point lead according to 2 different polling groups, and that's the most important thing, really.
So we hear rumors about Democrats replacing Biden. Let's just say, hypothetically, we see something like this, an open national convention, a free-for-all. What is the impact of something like that, do you think?
I think that the nation would be riveted by that. I think that, frankly, I think Biden is in such bad shape right now that the best thing that could happen to the Democratic Party is a convention that would be totally open, totally competitive, and anybody could come out. Can you imagine the TV ratings for that convention? I mean, Sean, I think it would be exciting, and I think whoever would come out of that convention, it would be like a slingshot. I mean, they would come out of there, and they would. I think they would blow by. I do. I think. I doubt if it happens, but it would be unprecedented, and it would be a lot of fun to watch.
Good for TV, but good for Democrats, really?
I don't think it would be good for Democrats. I think when people are confused, when they're unsure, is when they're not with you. I think. Look, Biden has been a very good president, and everybody talks about his age, and you just can't refute that. But he hasn't been a bad president. He's done a lot of good things for climate change. He's been the president that's invested the most in climate change, Medicare and prescription drug negotiations, student loan debt. I mean, he has done and had a first term that's going to go down as one of the best in history. So why are we not liking him? I don't understand that. It's baffling to me because he is a good president, and now his campaign has to tell the people that. And I don't, it's March. They haven't quite started doing that, but I think they will. I think you'll have a different perspective in June.
I could take a stab at that, why they don't like him.
I'm sure you could, Dick.
I'm going to take a live picture from Mar-a-Lago where, victory party's underway there, I'm sure. Yeah. Go ahead, Dick. Take a stab at it. The CBS News poll showed Trump leading Biden 52% to 48% among likely voters. And poll after poll is showing that right now.
Yeah, and listen, I would agree with Sheila on this. He has done a lot, but a lot of it is what the American people don't like. I mean, look at the fiasco in Afghanistan. Look at the inflation rate that we've been talking about a lot tonight. I mean, you talk about climate change. The public is rejecting electric vehicles that he's been forcing on the American consumer. So there's a lot of public policy that he's done a lot on, but the public hasn't liked it.
Immigration, always a big issue.
Yes.
But this election, because of the migrant crisis, it is bigger than ever.
Yes.
And it's interesting that views of Trump's hardline approach to immigration have evolved. Once people thought, oh, that's too much, separating families at the border and that sort of thing.
Which went on in the Obama administration.
Hey, but it's like people's memory of that has changed.
I think the fundamental error that Biden made, he and his people were so intent on reversing everything that Trump had done that they didn't even take a look at the public policy aspects. And the biggest example of that, remain in Mexico. When he reversed that, the flood of illegal immigrants in the United States dramatically increased. If he had maintained the Trump policy, he would have benefited from that. And you can say a lot of things about Donald Trump, but he did have, the border was much more secure under him, largely because of Remain in Mexico. And I bet you there are people in the White House right now who are saying to themselves, boy, we should have thought about that before we reversed that policy.
Okay, last question. Yes or no, Haley drop out tonight?
No.
No.
All right, we'll see. Here's a last look at the numbers so far, and we will have another update in just a few minutes.